So we just got a ton of information dropped by IGN talking about Chocobo breeding, Vincent Valentine and Sid being playable, and how Zack is playable. Real quick, I want to go over the 3 articles and discuss them with you guys. First, we have Rebirth will include a new episode featuring Zack. It says IGN, we learned this in a recent interview with the FF7 Rebirth producer Yoshinori Kitase, in which he briefly discussed some of the differences between Rebirth and a corresponding segment of the original Final Fantasy VII. Kitase said that the order of certain events in the storyline of Rebirth might differ from the original, as expected, and the order in which characters join the party has been reimagined. But largely, Rebirth tells the story of Final Fantasy VII from the end of Remake up into the Forgotten Capital sequence. But also, it seems like it adds a bit more Zack. Kitase goes on to say, furthermore, as you know, within the original FF7, the character Zack Fair is one that doesn't appear as much in the original title. However, we see at the end of Remake that he has appeared, which you know is quite a difference from the original title. As for Rebirth, there will now be a new episode with Zack that will contain even more of him than in the remake. I'm not able to say much more than this, as I would like for players to play and experience this with their own hands. That's all they're saying now for Zack's role, which seems to be somehow tied into some of the mysterious plot shenanigans in Remake involving the Whispers of Fate. And then they go on to talk about how they're just going to go up with Crisis Core. So there will at least be one chapter or one area in the game where we want to play Zack in his little timeline, I guess. Then we have some pretty bad news involving Sid and Vincent. They're not going to be playable in Rebirth. This was an interview with Hamaguchi. In terms of whether or not Vincent will be a playable character, he will be more of an accompanying character to the party in terms of Rebirth. So this will be similar to how Red 13 was in Remake. Specifically, this means that Vincent won't be playable in Rebirth, but he will be a party member of sorts. In Remake, Red joins a party halfway through the story and fights alongside them, but is not able to be controlled in battle or have equipment changed. However, this doesn't mean Vincent is permanently off the party list. Red 13 is playable in Rebirth, meaning Vincent might join the group for a final section of the trilogy, whenever that comes out, which definitely he's going to be in part 3, 1000%. Him and Sid both will be. He may even get his own DLC, similar to how Yuffie got one before Rebirth came out, a little bit after Remake. I think it was like a year after. Vincent's appearance in the recent Rebirth trailer came as a welcome reveal, as the character is one of the most beloved members of the original FF7. In the original game, Vincent was an optional party member met in Nibelheim, who joins the party on his own revenge mission. Vincent was popular enough that he got his own spin-off game toward the servers. Vincent, and more than likely Sid as well, will not be playable in Rebirth, which is super sad. Finally, they go on to discuss Chocobo breeding, also not in Rebirth, which is kind of expected, but also like a bummer. Speaking to IGN in an interview, director Hamaguchi unfortunately confirmed that there's no Chocobo breeding system in Rebirth, but there will be plenty of Chocobos just in general. Cloud and his buds will be able to use them to climb cliffs and reach new areas that are inaccessible by walking. And even though breeding is out of the question, he adds that there is an enhanced new Chocobo capturing feature that can be used to acquire Chocobos in the first place. And then of course there's Chocobo racing at the Gold Saucer. For the Rebirth Chocobos, each of them have their own unique name and they're able to enter the Gold Saucer races. There's also equipment that is specifically designed for Chocobos to equip that will enhance their stats and it will affect their performance in Chocobo races. There are several racetracks that are available, and just within the Chocobo racing contest, there are many varied courses that one could challenge. So in terms of play hours that can be devoted, it's quite, copious amounts of hours that one could spend on Chocobo racing. Hamaguchi also responded to IGN, pointing out that Red 13 looked a little uncomfortable riding a Chocobo in the trailer, saying that how he would ride was very discussed amongst ourselves, and we kind of settled upon Nomura-san's idea of how he should be riding the Chocobo. And we really think this combines both the comical elements that alongside the serious plotline that really represents the FF7 series. And I'm happy to see that this was really picked up on in the trailer he added. And we also got some new gameplay trailers and stuff for the 2 demos. I'll link that down below. Schrodinger's Baby Seal got to play the game early, the 2 demos that's at TGS right now. We have the flashback scene with Sephiroth and Cloud, and we have right before you get to Junon, you get the party before they fight Bottom Swell and stuff like that. So I'll post that down below and you guys check that out. So let me know down below also if you're bummed out that there's no Chocobo breeding, or if there's not any Vincent and Sid playable characters in the game. It's kind of a bummer, but we do have Zack. We do have Zack we can play as, which will be interesting. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with this story and how it ties into Cloud's story. But if you're new here, be sure to like, subscribe, because we'll be doing more content based on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, guides and stuff when it comes out, and news. You want to stay up to date with all that as well. Thanks for watching. Peace.